Hi, I wanted to preface this episode. My guest this week is deaf, and the program I usually use to record these episodes does not have closed captions as an option while we're recording. In that circumstance, he wouldn't be able to hear or understand what I'm asking him. He does have the closed captions option in Discord. This Life Stories does have a Discord server, so we did the recording in there. Something happened during the setup. If you watch past videos, you've probably seen this glowing microphone. The guest couldn't hear me when I was using that. Um, but he could hear me when I was using this headset, so I used the headset for the interview. Unfortunately, the recording was recording the other microphone, so I am very hard to hear on this video, but we have gone through all the text, so if you turn on closed captions, you should be able to see anything you can't hear. So enjoy the episode. It's a good one, and we'll see you soon.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to This Life Stories, where we explore the real, raw, and resilient journeys of people living with disabilities, chronic illnesses, and everything in between. Today's conversation is one I've been really looking forward to. I'm talking with someone who lives at the intersection of autism, ADHD, depression, anxiety, and hearing loss. We'll dive into what life looks like when multiple conditions overlap, how they navigate the world, and what support and understanding really mean. Whether you're neurodivergent yourself, a caregiver, or just someone trying to understand the world a little better, this episode is for you. So let's jump in. My guest today is Cam. Cam, welcome to This Life Stories.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little about yourself, whatever you'd like to share to help people to get to know you?
Absolutely. So I am a Twitch streamer. I typically try to, share my story and kind of just show the world that I'm just me,
Right.
honestly. Because a lot of people don't really know how to navigate around people like me. I've always treated people exactly the way I always do, but I'm a massage therapist. On the downside, I try to, get to know people and build connections and friendships, no matter who they are. And I also try to do my best to help them overcome things that they may have done, like I have. Because honestly, I overcome a lot of things, and it was a lonely process, but it didn't have to be. I think that's the part I'm trying to bring up and put some light on because everybody wants to deal with things themselves. And I had a friend who told me recently that because I've been accepting love, help, and and support, he's been showing me, see, you're on the right path because you're accepting the really, really hard part, which is accepting other people just have a little bit involvement in what you consider a barrier. Because I do consider everything that I have a barrier, but I always have people around me and they want to be there and support me. So I try to do the same thing for everybody else.
Okay, great. When did you first start noticing or learning about the diagnoses you live with?
So I lost my hearing when I was 3 years old due to a hearing loss with allergies. My family, we always had cats, but back then I noticed that there's a particular area with babies. You don't always notice that babies have allergies because they don't always show up the way adults and teenagers and children do. So I ended up having an ear infection. My grandmother told me I kept grabbing my ears all the time, and I wasn't hearing anybody. And so they took me to the doctor. They drained the fluids out of my ears. And then after that, I noticed that, like, I didn't have any memory. I don't have any memory of this. To my knowledge, I've always been deaf. I've always been, who I am.
Right.
But I think it play a part in the fact that people can understand me a lot better than understanding, you know, people who lost their hearing had, when they were born and having to learn how to communicate and, speak if they're able to. Because a lot of people can be, but I feel like I noticed I was a little different because I don't know, like even the kids in my neighborhood, like I got called out for being choose my language, but than being less black than a lot of people in my neighborhood because my family was very diverse. My mom died, my great grandmother died British. And then my dad's side, we have Native Americans and African Americans, and like we have that on my mom's side too, but it's very diverse here. We don't really stay with one thing because we don't want to be one thing because of the fact that we want to be, we want everybody to feel like they're accepted, no matter who they are. So we're like, we're a little different. Let's be different. Why not?
Right.
But I think that's where it came from because my family's very different. I always got called out for being like I love country music. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind a little hip hop, but it never fazed me. But I love country music, rock music, because I resonate with it, with my mental health and my pain, everything. I don't really resonate with hip hop unless it's more like about the truth of what's really going on and how we really feel instead of like money and all that stuff. That's just not me.
What was the process like getting diagnosed with autism, ADHD, depression, and anxiety? Was it straightforward or did it take time?
Uh, really, once I admitted that, 2018 is when I had an issue with, what I was struggling with because I was trying to be a normal person who was, like, I was a massage therapist at the time, and I was doing deep tissue. I was outside the TD Garden in Boston, so I had a lot of professional athletes, and, like, I loved what I did, but I also realized I was very depressed, and I wasn't like getting what I needed out of life other than money. And I realized, wow, money isn't my motivator. So I went to my doctor after I got, how do I say this? So my job, I told them that I was having issues with my brain because I dropped medication, and my doctor was like, well, talk to your work. They should be able to work with you. So I ended up, being like, hey guys, I'm struggling. Like I should be okay, but right now I'm struggling because of my medication drop. So they ended up telling me, and my doctor was, and that they ended up telling me to leave and that I couldn't come back without a doctor's note. So I ended up talking to my doctor and everything. She was like, you went to them. It's not like you had an episode or anything. You went to them. They handled that wrong. My doctor and my therapist was so livid that I had to go through this. So I ended up having a doctor's note and going back to my boss, and they ended up firing me for having depression over text message. Yeah. And I ended up, dealing with that and everything. But after that, I had a huge conversation with my therapist and everything because I blamed myself for the way everything happened, even though I did everything right. And my therapist was like, but you can. And I think that's the part of depression. And I feel like, my therapist helping me, like, because I'm very vocal with my thoughts. And, she was like, yeah, you're not wrong. You didn't do anything wrong, but your thoughts are telling you did something wrong. That was kind of my first recognition to holy shit. My depression really did control me and my anxiety and my ADHD. The ADHD came fast forward to now. I was trying to work on my depression and everything, and my depression was getting better, but I was still so tired. And I noticed I was focused on only certain things, and I had motivation where I had it and where I didn't have it. So I ended up talking to my therapist to recommend me for a psychologist, and he ended up putting me on ADHD medication. And right then, I noticed my depression got better because I feel like a lot of people don't realize that ADHD it can be many other things. Yes, it's a focus disorder. Like yes, you can hyper focus on things. My focus majority on me. Like everything that I was doing, my actions and my thoughts. Like I noticed that as soon as I took the first dose of the ADHD medication, I noticed, wow, I'm just going with the flow. I've never done that in my whole life, and I wanted to climb because I was like, wow. Even my ADHD, my whole life, I was like my depression, my anxiety. Like I knew I had those, but I was trying to fix those without realizing, holy shit, it's my ADHD making these worse. And it's funny because my teachers wanted to diagnose me when I was a kid. My family being who I was, they didn't want me to get treated different. But they ended up being like, nah, we're not doing that. And I told my family this recently. I was like, I want you guys diagnose me because yes, I appreciate you for letting me live a normal life. But at the same time, it would have been nice to learn how to cope with the things that I go through. Like, just the way, like with my autism, dude, I have not been diagnosed with that. But my whole life, I know I like my therapist, my teachers, everyone was telling me, and because my family didn't want to diagnose me with ADHD or autism, I had to kind of go through life the way I thought was right, and then still go through that meltdown that you see in autism. Whenever I feel hopelessness, that meltdown will come back. Like it got so much better because it's like, oh well, this sucks. But before it was like the world was ending,
Right.
and it was so horrible. I was like, wow. I didn't know what to do. Like I would have meltdown. My partner at the time would like hug me that we were, or like back off that we were. Nothing she did would work. It, I noticed that when it comes to autism, you need help understanding emotions.
Right.
Because you feel them and you don't really get it. Because a lot of the times you feel them and they're very overwhelming. But a lot of the times people don't really necessarily tell you, hey, this is normal. But you gotta push through it and then it gets better. You know what I
Right.
mean? With autism, you really don't think about that. You really don't. You just feel it and you're stuck feeling that. I noticed that like when somebody told me for the first time in forever it's temporary, my brain went like it added it into my notes and went, wow, we can lose that. I was like, wow, that's uh,
How do these conditions, especially together, affect your day-to-day life?
so I have a really good team. They're fucking amazing. On Twitch, Jameer Ice Guy, James Clay, Bacon Demon, and among other people. I know how fucking it gotta be to have a friend who is completely, not completely deaf, but like with ADHD, not really paying attention. Like, I noticed that, like, they call my name a lot. And I'm like, guys, why y'all calling my name? They were like, you didn't answer. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. But they're very patient. And that's where the feeling of burden comes in. I used to hate when people work with me because I'm like, no, it's not your problem, it's mine. And that's where love and acceptance comes in. Because yes, this is not what I want to be, but you deserve to have people work with you.
Right.
Now I have closed captions, I want to say maybe a couple of years ago, I was playing on my MacBook, and I was playing with my MacBook, and I got closed caption. And I was like, "Holy shit, guys! I can hear you with closed caption." It's funny because like I hear them, but with my auditory processing, I don't process it fast enough for me to go, all right, and respond. But when I read it, or like if I'm multitasking or playing games and I read it, and for some reason it flows, you know. It's just like stuff like that. Like a lot of people are like, well, you should have people be patient with it. But I'm like, there's people out here who deal with me every day. Sometimes I'm a not a dickhead, but like sometimes I can fuck with them. You know what I mean? They're calling my name, and I'm like, and they're like, bro, nothing. I'm like, I'm just kidding. I heard you. I just want you to know where it's like. They're like, wow, like just certain things, you know, like they deal with my humor, they deal with my depression. Before now, like there was times when I'm like, guys, I feel like you guys hate me, and they're like, whoa, where's it coming from? I'm like, I don't know. I know this is a lie, and my brain comes up there. But I'm realizing, holy shit, I need reassurance. I have a hard time with that, and I trust you guys for me to come to you and be like, do I pick you off or do I like anything? They're like, no. Like, yeah, we have that issue where, you know, you get this, but no, we love you, bro. And I'm like, I feel so much better and everything goes away. But like my whole life, I've had to like figure it out my whole, like myself. Like, I'm
Right.
so individual. So when I look at people, you know, like black people, we have working big face. It's so cool. And I'm like, wow, everybody must be really angry. And like, and then I meet other people. I'm like, no, it's not just black people. No, we all just have that space. We just chill, or if it's okay, you know, certain things like that. I'm learning to not to overreact, but to
Right.
feel the vibe and to go through it. You know, even with we had a couple of issues. We have a person in my Discord who suffered from alcoholism, and I suspended him for a few days. But in the middle of suspending him, I ended up, messaging him, making sure that he's okay. Because everybody has this girl character policy that I don't agree with, and I'm like, why not help him? Why not be there for him?
Right.
So I ended up, you know, we had a mob meeting. We ended up adding him to my Discord, bashing to it. And we had a conversation. I'm like, bro, this is something you go through alone. This is something you go through as a friend. Like everything I've been through, like yeah, people told me I gotta figure it out. Having you guys and having support, and I feel like that's what my condition made me go through. It made me stop myself and realize, holy shit, I don't have to go through this alone. Like
Right.
anything you go through, I don't think you should have to go through this alone.
Right. I agree. Are there specific situations or environments that are particularly difficult or overwhelming for you?
Restaurants. I don't know why, but I love restaurants. I feel like I get very quiet when I'm in a loud setting. It's because I'm listening. I wanna, you know, I like to watch everybody be themselves, especially when I can't be a part of it because it's too loud, or maybe I'm overwhelmed, and I just kind of take step back and observe. But I agree, restaurants, they're so loud. I don't understand why people don't like it. But I have a hearing that allows me to press the button and it transforms I have this normal sound where I pick up everything, and then I have the sound where it blocks out I wanna say maybe outside of my cable.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I can only hear what's going on at my table. It's so
That
what? I was like, wow, I can hear you in a bar.
I didn't know they had that.
Yeah, they have so many different types of hearing. The old one that I had, connected. They have a Bluetooth key that connected to anything that has Bluetooth, and it'll go from the Bluetooth to your hearing. Yeah, I have one of those. It's pretty fucking cool. It's crazy because technology is growing. These hearings that I have, you can't actually see them compared to the old one that I had. But they're kind of smaller. One thing I actually like about these is this is the first of its kind that I've ever had. But it comes with in-ear hearing. So my kid, she ran up to me, she hugged me, and she goes, "Wait a minute, I don't hear the feedback." It's so fucking annoying sometimes, but like sometimes you actually don't get feedback with these ones.
That's
Like,
good.
what? I love it.
Being hard of hearing can present unique challenges. What are some ways you navigate communication, especially in noisier group settings? Is it just that feature where you can hear the immediate area around you?
Yeah, actually, it's just that feature. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have ones where you can add other ones. The other hearing that I had, you could add it's called comfort. Like they had like different names for it, like normal restaurant, and the other one was called comfort, where it's just like a comfortable setting. But honestly, I noticed that Apple and certain phones are starting to evolve with accessibility. Because my phone, like, is even when not connected to my hearing, I have a feature where it can pick up. It can pick up anything that you're playing on your phone. Like if you're playing music, it'll pick up it'll type out the caption for that. Or like if you're on a phone call, it'll type up the caption for that. But it also had a feature where you can put on microphone. So I was hoping for if you don't have anything like I do, you can lose your phone. And it's picking me up right now, right? And typing right now. It's pretty cool because I was like, wow, this would have been great for a couple of years ago. I didn't have any of that. Like I was just like going with the flow and kind of overanalyzing everything. It made my anxiety so bad because I was like trying to pay attention to everything. And
Right.
I hear a couple of my friends, they're like, I wish I didn't hear anything. I'm like, I get why you feel that way
Yeah.
because I'm paying attention to everything. I see the face, I hear the tone, and I'm like, I get how you feel. There's so many things that people can lose. Like even on here, like with closed captions, if you go on Chrome, you can accessibility, you can turn on the closed caption too. Even on your PC, we have that now. That's where I lose. On my PC, I go to my accessibility, it has closed captions and you can put it anywhere. It stays up there and honestly it picked up everything. It helped a lot because I play video games a lot. And I'm playing on a PC, and one thing I never ever done was, bro, talk to a random.
Right.
Cause you don't know what they're saying. Like even if you see me on my Twitch, I used to turn it off. Like I used to turn them off because I don't want people to pick it up, and I don't know what they're saying. I can't report it because I'm not paying attention to them. But now, like it picked up my game. It picked up people's voices in games, and it
Right.
it
How do people usually respond when you ask for accommodation?
it's very common now. Don't have that problem because my insurance actually has like a few things where you can you can ask for transportation or you can ask for when you go to a hospital, they'll ask me first, not me asking them. Because I'm a lip reader. I like reading people's lips. I hate it when COVID happened because the master.
Oh yeah.
Usually when I go to the doctor, they'll come to me and they'll pull out this thing. Huge, and it has like a little monitor thing on it. And on the other side of the monitor, usually it's got my sign language to you, and they can, tell the doctor what you want to say. But I'm like, I don't know any sign language. Like, I know sign language, but I don't know code words. And like, I want to go back to school and learn some more because it might help somebody. But honestly, I was like, thank you. I appreciate it, but I don't need that. But I feel bad because where I live, we're more advanced than some parts of the country. So I feel bad talking about what I have sometimes because like I feel like maybe it's an eye opener because maybe it'll help some places be like we need that. Because honestly, here we're okay, but I hear about other parts of the country and I'm like they don't even have that. Some people just annoy deaf people. And shit, and I'm like wow, that's fucking awful.
Right. What's something you wish more people understood about being hard of hearing?
So we're just like anybody else. Like I whenever I tell people I'm deaf, they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'll look around and be like, "I didn't die." It makes me laugh though, but like it just shows me that people are very sympathetic. They don't really know what to say. Just treat us like you know, like you. Well, I was gonna say just treat us like you would treat your grandmother, but then I realized some people start yelling at old people. I'm like,
Yeah. Over
I
here, Grandma.
grandma. Honestly, I just feel like just sometimes they have their own way of navigating through the world, but if you feel like you're one of those people who are like, hey, if you miss anything, come to me, you know, come to me or tell me you missed part of the conversation and I can tell you what that person's saying,
Right.
you know. I love people like that because sometimes I'm like, did, I, did he just say what he said? And then it's like, what? Because people don't realize I missed a part of the conversation. They're like, oh, yeah. 9 times out of 10, sometimes I'm either a little behind or I'm a little ahead. It's never in between. But like, I love people like that, especially for people who really need it. If it wasn't for closed captioning, because what I do is I open it out, the closed caption, and I can read back what somebody said in case I missed it.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
How have depression and anxiety impacted your life, and how do they interact with your autism and ADHD?
I feel like my depression and anxiety impacting me with making me more sympathetic. Because honestly, like all the feelings that I used to carry, all the feelings that I pick up, and I'm like, what is this? It made me very sympathetic for a lot of people who I meet. Because I know people will have like they go through stuff and it's very hard and they keep getting back up though. And I'm like, yeah, you got this, like there's a lot of people I feel like that go through shit repeatedly over and over and over and for some reason they still get back up. I feel like when I meet people like that, it impacts my depression and make me realize, holy shit, you should tell me that nothing, you telling me that nothing is important for me to stop moving. Yeah, take a break, give yourself some grace, but get back up and keep going. And I think my depression, I feel like when it comes to my autism and ADHD, those two really work together hand in hand. I don't know why, but like for some reason, if it wasn't for me having ADHD and my autism, I don't think I would be the person that I am right now because of the fact that, like I have these dark humor and I hang out with people and they get it. And I'm like, wow, some people don't get it. And the other side of it where I feel like I understand the other people who have autism. ADHD, and I'm realizing both of those are starting to seem like they go hand in hand, and we get along really well because we understand how different we are. but the fact like sometimes we get overstimulated. For some reason, my hearing makes me overstimulated when I have it too high, and I know I'll turn it down or I take one out, and I just chill. But I realize other people with autism get that. Like, yeah, we have people who understand, like neurotypical people who understand, like, wow, this is exhausting to hear that over and over. But sometimes, like, when it comes to a certain sound or noise, or sometimes, or how you feel, it's like, wow, I can't do this. Like, it's crazy. We can't do that. It's like down. And then I meet other people, and I'm like, wow, you get it. It's pretty cool because it makes us feel like it's not an issue, you know?
Right.
Like I know some of the things that I do is practically a superpower. Because on one side, I don't always wear hair on this side. For some reason, I couldn't wear hair on this side. It was more. Funny thing is, I'm definitely on this side than this side, but this side picked up vibration. So if I hear a door slam, I would feel that first before other people would like recognize it. You know,
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I feel certain things in the house, or like if I can tell when somebody comes in, it's definitely because I feel it. Or like, my energy. I don't know if this has anything to do with ADHD. Because a lot of people like to put the science on it. I love the science of things instead of like, oh, it could be, we're empaths, but like I feel like I became an empath because of all my conditions.
right.
And because of that, I pick up vibes before anything happens. And sometimes I feel like that's important because you can either change the person's day instead of letting them come in carrying that feeling. Some people don't want to talk about it first, but when you feel that vibe and you're like, hey, you good? And it's like, how'd you know? You know what I mean? They have no choice but to talk about it because sometimes there's that feeling there. It's like, usually I'm good, then people let it out, and they just like, I don't know, the energy changes with them. I feel like that's what I do. But I never want to change a person's energy if that's not what they want. But I feel like I have this thing where I can keep things calm or
Right.
try. I like it because I feel like I my whole life, and they talk about generational trauma with this, but my whole life I feel like I've dealt with like my family fighting, my family arguing, just stuff that you shouldn't be around when you're a kid. So it made me more hypersensitive and like I don't know, I feel like it made me very good at reading people and kind of gauging the outcome of certain things. I like it, but like it's like sometimes I'm like, if I'm doing something and you're like, just tell me to fucking relax, you know what I mean? Because sometimes
Right.
I overanalyze.
What coping mechanisms or support systems have helped you the most?
My Discord, um, honestly, there's so many coping mechanisms I picked up from my therapist, but honestly, I wouldn't have gotten here without my support from my Discord, honestly, 'cause even other people's Discord. I can't explain it because sometimes I meet two people off of Twitch, and for some reason they be in my Discord. Next thing I know, we've been friends for like 3 years. There's,
Right.
n- there's nothing like that. Like the way we go through bullshit and just life, and we grow together. Like a lot of people ask me, like, "What are you really here for?" I'm like, "It's definitely not money, because all I want to do is make friends and connections." It helped me grow. There's this one friend that I have who everybody says we cannot be friends because I'm trans and he's the polar opposite. He's a very blunt person. And he's, white, blue eyes. And I'm like, everybody will ask him. I remember when we first started hanging out, people would ask him and they would be like, how do you friends with Superfly? He's like, what do you mean? Because it, a lot of people have a problem with it bluntly. I love it because my whole life I feel like people put on a mask, and all I've wanted was people to present themselves or come to me as who they are, not become someone to please me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And this motherfucker, he's one of my bestest friends. We've known each other for like 4 years through ups and downs, and he's very blunt. And like whenever I go through things, he'll be like, Superfly, have you ever thought about it like this? And I'm like, wow, I never thought about it like that. And like he's always thinking of me. Like whenever I go through something, he'll, like type or like he gets the thing on X, also known as Twitter, but he gets the perfect thing that is like about love or about something. Sometimes he just forget and he'll say it to me. And I'm like, you know what? I think I needed that today because I completely forgot about this conversation we talked about. Thank you. Because, like, just it's the little things for me, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
really is.
Well, it sounds like mental health care has been accessible for you, and it seems like you found it effective also. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I understand why some people don't, but I feel like because I was had my last straw with the feelings that I've had, I was like, I can't feel all of this, you know what I mean? Because when we go through PTSD, my therapist told me about this before I started taking medication. When we go through PTSD, our brain comes up with more hormone of that panic. I mean, so when we panic, we end up panicking some more. It doesn't help. It changes the way our brain truly really think. And because for a little while, I was very panicky. I feel like the medication helped me. I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to do medication. I totally understand them because for a while I was afraid of changing who I was.
Right.
I want to be who I am, and honestly, it didn't change me. It just stopped my brain from focusing on that immediately. I was focusing on pain that was from 20 years ago. I wasn't recovering from it. I wasn't, like I wasn't even looking forward to the future. I just wanted it to stop. I know it's myself, like, and at that time I had a 8-year-old, and like she's so much like me when it comes to like empathy and sympathy. And I was like, I don't want you to see the pain that I go through all the time. It's it wasn't anything serious to me. It was like the feelings that I was going through. I don't know, like I never hide what I felt. Like whenever I cried, my kids would come over and hug me, and like I feel better. She's that kid. She just wanted to hug people and make them feel better. And I'm like, but it's not the job. And she's like, but you need a friend. It's okay. I'm like, you right though. Like, like that's the type of people that I'm starting to attract in my life, and like my friends and everything. I feel like mental health, it really helped me with that because it made me do what I was focused on. I feel like it also kind of made me realize what we should have focused on. So I feel like mental health really has been effective for me, especially here. I don't know what it is. I feel bad because I've heard so many stories of people going to a therapist, people going through to a psychologist. Hasn't been It's always been up and down for them. I'm like, it shouldn't be like that for you. Like, it should not be like that for you. And that's why I'm like, I don't blame how people feel, but I always tell them, look at your location. Look at your location and look at the state that you live in. Sometimes, if it's that, you gotta give it a little bit of grace and keep pushing. I can't imagine how frustrating that must be. It's frustrating when you're like, all right, I'm gonna go get some help. Turns out my insurance won't cover it. Oh my God, I finally get to my insurance. Turns out they won't cover my medication. Turns out I get my medication. It's like, it's always up and down for some people. And it's like, it bothers me because it's not like that here.
Right.
And I'm not gonna shine light on it because I'm like, are we fucking with people so we can make them stronger? Or like, like what's going on? Like, you know what I mean? It can't be like that because it's patience that some people have while they're suffering. It, it's beautiful. I think I would be here if it wasn't for the patience that I had, for the people that were around me. Like before I found the Discord, I've had so many people who dealt with me being in pain and my meltdowns and my everything. And they still stay here. They still help me down. You know what I mean? When I didn't want to be helped because I didn't think I deserved it. That's how bad my brain was. I didn't think I deserved love. We all deserve love. No matter what you go through, no matter who you are, everybody deserves love.
Yeah, exactly. What are some common misconceptions people have about autism, ADHD, or invisible disabilities in general?
That if you look normal, you don't have it. Very, very well. A lot of people don't understand it, and I agree. I think it's the game that allows me to match. But masking is a big, big thing. People don't realize it. Like even when somebody wants is struggling, you're like, oh, there's no way you have depression. It's like, bro, just because the person don't show it to you doesn't mean that they don't have it.
Right,
I think that's one of the biggest things for me because I feel like my sister, she has cerebral palsy, and seeing her disability and seeing mine and trying to lead the life that I was trying to do, I wasn't giving myself grace as would give a person with a major disability like that. I feel like that's something that needs to change. No matter what we go through, sadness, lost a job, somebody died. Those aren't disabilities, but those are things that happen every day. And even those major things, even people with disabilities won't realize that you gotta give yourself grace.
right. I didn't
Exactly.
know.
I didn't either. When my grandmother died, completely spiraled. Like I didn't even know why. Like I knew why, but like I didn't even realize I could have reached out to a family. Like some things like that. It's crazy because we have family and we call family and they're not here for us.
Right,
That's kind of why, like, Queen of Demise, like, I have a couple people in my Discord, I made them my family because I ended up caring about y'all. That's the type of person I am.
right. And just to let everybody know, we're doing this interview on Discord because Cam has a closed caption application that he uses with this, and that allows him to see what I'm saying. Whereas if we did the interview on the normal program I use, but we wouldn't be able to communicate. So we're doing this on Discord, so editing's going to be interesting. We'll see how this turns out. But is there a moment that stands out where someone really got it, where you felt seen or understood?
Yeah, feel like when, I don't know, because I can't to over explain things. There are times when it's just these little moments. My parents, like, I'll explain things, like, I'll be like, oh, my bad, I'm bad. They're like, you're good. They think all the time, no matter what I say, or like I'll be like, oh shit, I could have food. They're like, you're good. And like I could be like I could make a mistake, they're like, you're good. Just I don't know what it is, but having these friends like that, it's just really validates me. I mean, like it's okay to go to the bathroom and come back and like you're good. And I don't know what it is, but having a friend like Vietnam Playwood, which is the friend that everybody gave to be friends together, These are reasons that I started kind of looking at my religion.
Right.
Yeah, we're both different people, but our God's the same. And he kind of, everything he said when it came to love, forgiveness, like reminded me of all that. No matter where we came, no matter what world we came from, you know what I mean? He's white, I'm black. We still understand the conversation.
Right.
It makes me really sad that a lot of places, a lot of anything, we can't talk about religion. And I understand why when it becomes English, but he's never been English. And a lot of people don't like him asking questions and stuff. And I'm like, but you could keep asking questions because you're trying to learn.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with learning. And it drives me crazy because a lot of people assume certain people, if they're not of color, that they're racist. It drives me freaking. And I feel like it needs to be talked about more because it's not fair. I've met so many people who really give me a chance of color. And there's so many people who look at me that what? I'm like, bro, I can't hate you because you look at me as I am.
Right.
And that's why I have so much respect for everyone, that like, don't treat people how they are because of who they are. They just they give that respect.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. Like I think that's the biggest thing. If you respect me, it doesn't matter if you're black, blue, purple. If you respect me, I respect you. But I always respect people first, regardless.
Right. Okay. What do you wish schools, employers, or communities did different?
Honestly, because of my depression, I wish it wasn't so fast paced.
Right.
Like school is so. I feel bad because my kid, she's a lot like me when it comes to medical stuff, and it's definitely because of her family. She had a hard time wanting to go to school in the morning.
Right.
And I used to be the same way. I don't know if that's a mental health issue or something like that. But I'm like, I don't know why, but I see the patterns and I'm seeing like it's more common. I knew a lot of people that you go to school simply because of depression. And I'm like, okay, so what needs to be done then? It's like I don't know, but I really wish that they had different types of like time for people who can get up in the morning because I completely get it.
Right. I know
I
those days.
seriously, like I feel like school is generally to prepare kids for like adult life, but it doesn't help when you're not like preparing them to work on what works for them.
Right.
If getting up in the morning doesn't work for them, how do you expect them to learn? Oh, I can do a night shift, or I can do an afternoon shift, or you know what I mean? Like, some
Right.
people don't have that mindset. Some people are like, well, I got up in the morning, I'm gonna have to suffer through that. I hate it, but I'm like, shouldn't you have to do that if you absolutely truly hate it? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just my mindset.
Okay. What does support look like for you? What actually helps?
Reassuring. Reassuring helped a lot. Support is honestly when I'm having a really bad day and you're still there. Like I'm not talking about like when a bad day where a person's attacking somebody. I'm just talking about like when I'm having a bad day. I might be quiet, You're still there no matter what that looks like. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think the point for me is staying in the lane with me when I'm down. I don't need that anymore because I haven't had any down days like that lately. But that's the point for me. And I believe that's also the point for a lot of people because there's a lot of people who go through shit and they're like, well, you have fun going through that. I'm going to go over there. It's like,
Right.
nah, whatever you're going through, I want to sit with you. Like, if you don't want to talk about it, I'm just gonna stick it with you. You know
Right.
what I mean? That's just, I feel like that's the point. That's what we try to do at our Discord. You know, like we have people who come in and not they don't feel ready to talk yet, you know, and they're like they go through stuff, and we're like, that's fine, come on in anyway, and they're here to talk, and I have a very dark sense of humor. So I'll say something, and then that person who's usually quiet will say something, and like it's crazy because that's how it always does. Nobody wants to talk, but once I make like a joke or something, that's when people start to talk and get to know each other. I'm like, yay, it makes me happy.
Right. Are there things that bring you joy or a sense of peace that others might not expect?
Yeah, community brings me a sense of peace because it's something that I don't think we talk about throughout life. Yes, when they talk about like school, like school or like sports or something like that, they talk about like community, but they never talk about like community having like family anymore that isn't blood. I don't know, I feel like the community really truly brings me joy to the point where I love it. I love what I do. I can't even hate it because yeah, we go through a lot of bullshit with like people who want to control us, people who think the things that we're doing are wrong. But all we do is try to like tell people, hey, you deserve better. You deserve your values, your support. But a lot of people hate that because it's not fame. And I'm like, I don't want fame. I just truly want to give back the love that people gave me. Because without that love, I wouldn't be here.
Right. Exactly. How do you view your neurodivergence today? And has that perspective changed over time?
Yeah. I don't know how I truly do it. Cause I just, it did, you know. But honestly, I feel like it's starting to be put in categories that it shouldn't because every one of these illnesses are expected. Then if you look at me, you wouldn't even think I had it.
Right.
I feel like everything is very me. I feel like people need to stop putting it in a category. You know, like I understand the category within the label, but I feel like we need to just start accepting that, we all have issues and that we all have, problems and they don't define us, but we need to figure out how to go forward with our lives without letting this hold us back.
Right.
I
That's good. That's good.
honestly, it's the reason I do this. I just want to help other people who feel like they feel alone because I didn't know other people felt the same way as I did.
Right. Yeah. That finding others in similar situations is definitely helpful.
Yeah, yeah.
What are your hopes for the future in terms of awareness, inclusion, or personal?
My personal goal is to honestly just stop being so anxious and just keep growing, honestly. Because I'm very anxious, especially without weed. But like, a couple days ago, I took a calorie break and I realized how anxious I get because I'm overthinking. Honestly, I feel like my personal goal is to keep pushing myself, and like this interview is one of them. Like I normally would do things like that because it makes me it gives me anxiety a little bit. But I feel like I want my personal goal is to keep helping people and keep spreading love because I feel like more and more people really need to know that. Honestly, I can't explain it, but like it wasn't that long ago when I was just so miserable and just coming on Twitter really was what helped me grow. And honestly, if I wasn't on Twitch, I would have never met Queen of the Minds. If it wasn't for me and Queen of the Minds, I would have never been here.
And for the audience, Queen of Demise is my daughter's handle on Discord, and I think a number of other things.
Uh,
What advice would you give to someone who's just beginning to understand their own diagnosis?
to keep reading up, but don't let it define you. Because the diagnosis isn't what you are, what we're going through. And a lot of people don't understand that when we go through the diagnosis, you kind of follow a little bit like, wow, this is me. Or because some people, they've been struggling for a while, they get really happy. And I'm like, yeah, because you finally understand what's going on. And I totally get that. I just don't let it define you because it doesn't have to be. A lot of people, when they spiral, tend to, well, this is what I am, fuck it. And it's like, that it doesn't have to be like that. Yeah,
Right.
we struggle, and you don't have to throw in the towel and make things worse. But a lot of people actually would do that. And it's like, you don't have to do that. My biggest advice, look for a community, look for some support. You already advocated to do this alone. That's what you enjoy. And I'm at the place where I'm actually okay with, you know, going through certain things alone. But for a while, I was afraid to be alone. Depending on what pace you're at, eventually you're gonna want to be like, all right, I'm gonna do this alone now. You know, it's okay to want to have time for yourself. But you are no, I agree. I agree. No,
No? Where can people learn more about your story or support your journey?
honestly, if anybody really wanna see me play my games or anything, I talk about it on my Twitch a lot. If anybody has any questions, they're always able to um redeem. Because on my Twitch, you can redeem points, and then you can press redeem, and you can ask me who I am, or I really don't mind people on my Twitch asking me questions, even without redeeming, because it can help somebody. You never know. Twitch.com, Superfly, Trash Guy, that's who I am. I'm more than just a trans guy. It's just what I identify as, but I'm not a typical trans guy. I don't, judge people because they're trans or they're not trans. Honestly, I try to hang out with anybody. I have a bunch of guys in my Discord, and they consider me as one of the guys. That's kind of how I live. Cause
Right.
that's just kind of how I live. Because we get around, we just kind of talk about bitches. Sometimes we talk about golf. It's crazy because I didn't know anybody else liked golf before I did. But honestly, that's me.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to give a huge thank you to my guest, Cam, for being so open and honest today. These kinds of conversations remind us that people are never just one label, one diagnosis, or one story.